baby shelter, and we are here at South Meadows Farm. So part of the goal with the farm and the community gardens at both of the shelters is to just get nutrient-dense food into the kitchens at the shelters to feed the guests. But another part of the mission of the farm and the gardens is to just get good nutrient-dense food out into the community of Rome and Floyd County. We're doing that via the farm bus, which is our mobile farmers market that we can take anywhere and set up in 20 minutes a market full of fresh produce that we've grown from seed here on the farm. This is just some basil, some lemon basil that I seeded from some seed that was saved by the last farm manager. And I kind of just planted it just to kind of feed the bees and provide nectar and pollen and stuff for them while there's not a whole lot blooming on the farm. Got some rows of lettuce in here that I need to weed, but just like some little baby lettuce that planted maybe 3 weeks ago. That's one of the crops we've got in here. Some little baby French breakfast radishes that are growing. I did one row of those and a couple rows of arugula. Make some really nice salad mix. This is another like mustard salad mix that I like growing called Elegance by Johnny's. It's got a little bit of kale, some red mustard and Mizuna, and other like salad mustards kind of mixed in. It's like a nice mild but slightly spicy mix. This is a bunch of squash. We had some okra growing here earlier in the year, and then we've mowed all of that down, and I'm planning to cover crop this area just to kind of provide nutrients and stuff to all the plants that we grow here next year. And then I had cover cropped these couple of beds over the summer, and so now we've got some daikon radishes and some watermelon radishes growing. We'll harvest those a little later on, right before it gets really cold, and have some nice storage root crops to eat on over the winter time. And then here's another bed where we had okra, and then we've mowed it down and I'm planning to cover crop. And then this is actually some cover crop that came back from the summertime. These are cow peas or crowder peas, so we grew those just to kind of fix nitrogen into the soil to improve the quality and nutrient levels in the soil. And we harvested a lot of the peas, and then I mowed it down and tilled it in, and a bunch of the seed sprouted and came back, so I'm probably just going to kind of let them keep doing their thing until we get a frost, and then I'll cover crop for wintertime. These are our okra plants that are still kind of hanging on. We had several other beds of okra out here, but I mowed down a lot of them, but kind of kept these to keep harvesting, eating on. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. This was our tomato field. So we had about 6 beds of slicer tomatoes. We had 2 beds of cherry tomatoes, and I like to do the Florida stake and weave method of trellising, where you just kind of run posts every 3 to 5 plants, and you run a string down one side and kind of wrap it around each post as you go down, and then come back up the other side, and then the 2 strings kind of hold the plant in place, and then you just kind of add another layer and add another layer as the plant grows. You can just go all the way up to about 6 foot, and then did a bed of pepper plants as well. Have some bananas and some jalapenos and a couple other varieties of peppers. And I did these right next to the tomatoes because they're in the same plant family. They're all nightshades. And I try to group similar plant families together just so that when we're rotating crops around in the field, it's a little easier to keep track of pest and nutrient cycles and stuff, just so we can take good care of our plants. How was the sun? Is it all right? Stand right here. This is called a silage tarp. This is something that we use to kind of kill weeds or help accelerate the breakdown of cover crop and stuff, to just accelerate the breakdown process to turn it into compost, just to kind of try to reduce the amount of tillage that we're doing, just to protect the soil structure and stuff. So we just kind of lay this tarp, like I'll mow everything down, then lay this tarp down, and it'll kill any kind of weed seeds that are present and help break down all of that organic material into compost. And then you pull the tarp back, you just got something that you can add your amendments to and then plant. This is our high tunnel, which we'll be using for wintertime crop production and really just season extension in general. So it'll kind of help us get a head start in the spring, and then it'll also kind of help us keep crops growing into the winter and through the winter. And then alongside crop production, we'll be using this space to propagate stuff for the gardens and the farm in the springtime. Next phase of the farm and the gardens is to, alongside offering transitional housing to the folks that stay at both of the shelters, is to be able to begin offering transitional employment. So we can bring people out into the field and pay them to help us work all of this land, and then also be teaching them how to do that on their own, so that they could potentially use farming or market gardening as a source of secondary income once they're ready to move on with their life.